Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. I'm really excited to share with you a mini recording of today's halaqa we had with the Qur'an live journal class we've been having on story of Yusuf alayhi salam. Today we are doing verses 16 and 17, and inshallah I'm really excited to go over it with you really quickly. So in the past, we have covered what the Yusuf Islam's brothers decided to do with Yusuf Islam and why did they decided to do those things. Today is coming up to the story's climax of what actually they did. So here we see Yusuf salam has been thrown into the well, and now the brothers have to return home. So how do they return home? What did they do? We'll go over it in today's halaqa, inshallah. And if you have your journal ready, keep it next to you. You can pause my video and start writing some of the notes and answers to the questions that I'm gonna ask you. It will really help you in the long run, inshallah. So feel free to pause and do that, or even do a drawing, whatever you feel like doing. Okay. So to begin, inshallah, let's see. They created up a story. So let's see. So Yusuf is not with them, and they're returning home after they promised their dad that they're going to take good care of him. So they return to their dad in the evening crying. وَجَاءُوا أَبَاءَهُمْ عِشَاءً أَن يَبْكُونَ. So once Yusuf salam is thrown into the well, the brothers had to return home. And now they're wondering, what will they say to their dad? Remember, before they left, they had given their word, they're going to take care of him and nothing bad can happen. How can something bad happen? There are so many of them, so strong. They're truly losers if they would let anything happen to their brother. So now they're wondering, we gave all those false promises, even though they had the bad intentions, but now they have to return and face their dad. So what will they say? What do you think they will do? I want you to stop here and actually write down any incident of something that you might have encountered in your own family or yourself. Sometimes, Shaitan gives us bad feelings and we end up doing sometimes small bad things or maybe even big ones. Have you ever done something that you were not happy about and you had to lie to hide it? How did you come up with it? Like, what did you feel afterwards? Did it make your life better lying? And so here we see that they're lying and they're pretending that they're sad. So they're even coming crying. And what are they going to ever do to make their dad believe that they're not lying? So now imagine what they're going through. They're not actually scared for their brother. They're more scared about what's going to happen to them. And that's what Shaitan wants us to do. So hasn't any time you had this feeling that you did something bad to someone else, but all you care about is the fact that you got into trouble? Was it a ticket you got for something you didn't follow the rules? Was it like, something bad you did to somebody's property? If you have, like, take a moment, think about it, do some tawbah if you had, because remember we did the chart about how, if you do some bad deeds and if you do tawbah and you expiate it by following up with a good deed like giving charity or making dua for the one you hurt, then that's good. It cleans your heart. So take some moments and do that right now. So we see Yusuf salam has decided, Yusuf salam's brothers have decided that they're going to come up with a story. And so they've returned to their dad crying. So let's see what they came up with. So first of all, I wanted to ask you, why do we cry? Like, why do you cry? Why do people around you cry? Is it always because you're sad? Maybe sometimes we see others even crying because they're happy. And others, kids sometimes cry because they want something, whether it's a device, whether it's time to go out and do something that their mom and dad are not allowing them. Maybe it's to buy some toys or whatever. Sometimes we cry just to convince others to give it to us, whatever we are really, really, really crazy about. And sometimes we cry to get pity from others. Like, like sometimes you see, somebody else or even, others you might see, or even you might do it, you won't even know it. Sometimes you're crying more than you're actually sad. Like maybe you got hurt and it hurts a tiny bit. Maybe you're crying more because you're getting extra attention. So, why do we cry? Like you could write down some of your own thoughts. Like it doesn't need to be the ones that I wrote here. It could be something else you want to come up with. Sometimes people told me they cry because they just felt like crying. Something happened and made them sad. And sometimes people don't even know why they cry. They just feel sad. So when you feel sad, what do? Do you cry? Do you write in your journal? Do you talk to your mom and dad? Or do you talk to your brother or sister? Or maybe you have a nice friend you can talk to. It's actually good to talk to people when you're sad. And even when you're happy, because that's how we get over some of our emotions. So there's nothing wrong with it. There's a reason why Allah allows us to cry. But here, why do you think Yusuf Islam's brother crying? Do you think they're sad for what they did to their brother? Maybe, like maybe you're thinking maybe they are sad and they're crying. But if you really are sad because you did something bad to someone, then what's the right thing to do? Shouldn't they go and help him out and genuinely tell their dad what happened so that they can save their brother? So here we see they're not actually crying because they care about their brother. They're just pretending. So they're doing it to pretend cry, to convince their dad. Do you think their dad will be convinced? Let's find out. Oh yeah, and the other things, they came back in the evening. They went in the day and they came back in the evening. Why would they come so late? Like, have you thought about it? I mean, well, if let's say you left and you said, I'm going to the park, mom, and you left, and then you play in the park, and then right away you came back and you're like, oh, mom, brother is lost, right? So your mom might be like, oh, let's go back real quickly, let's go find, right? But let's say they spend the whole day out, and then you come and you're crying and you say, I've looked for him for hours. Now it's actually much, much long time. Maybe your brother or sister has gone far away. It's going to take more effort for mom and dad to find him. So here we see it's actually a trick. They came in the night so that they can pretend that they actually were genuinely looking for him, or and also maybe they came up with the story, it took them that long. And also in the dark, can somebody see the false tears? Like, can somebody see you crying? In those days there wasn't great lighting. Today we have pot lights and we have like all kinds of fancy flashlights and lamps and shades. In those days people had a very simple house. Sometimes there was only one lamp, like a old style lamp, right? So it was easy for them to pretend they're faking, like pretend that they really are crying and they weren't, maybe. So it's harder to see fake tears in the night. So I mean, this was gonna help them with their fake lie. Did you notice how many bad things they did just to get something from Yaqoob alayhi salam? Like, they had to do something bad to their brother, they had to convince other brothers to do it with them. Now they're lying, and then they're pretending. It's like one bad thing after another, right? All like, that's how everything begins. You think that it's only one bad deed. Remember what was the trick Shaitan told them? That, oh, we're gonna do one bad deed, after that we'll be salihin. But look at how many bad things they did. And that's exactly what Shaitan wants us to do. So let's see what happened. Do you think do you think their dad will believe them? How would you feel if somebody came with such a story to you? Would you believe them? Yeah, I didn't think so too. I wouldn't believe it. It's so weird. Like, so let's see what happens. So now here's this story. So they said, قالوا يا أبانا. So they said, oh, our dad, إنا ذهبنا, we left, نستبق, we left to race. So they went racing. They're saying we went racing. وتركنا يوسف, and we left Yusuf. So now they're actually telling partially confessing that they have broken their promise. They promised their dad they won't leave Yusuf, they're gonna watch over him, they're gonna be careful. So they're telling their dad, yeah, actually we did leave. Like, we left, we went racing. And I mean, that's a bit realistic, because you would go in a park or a picnic, you want to play with your brothers or sister or whatever, right? So they're telling their dad that part, that, oh, we just wanted to go have a fun race, and we went racing and we forgot about him. And so like, that's actually very bad, right? Already they're saying that they forgot about him and stuff, even though they gave so many promises. And look, there's 10 of them, not one, not two, not three, 10 of them. Not one of them could remind, hey, let's take Yusuf too. And also, I mean, isn't that strange? Like, they left Yusuf alayhi salam and Yusuf alayhi salam agreed to stay behind. I don't know about you, but I have brothers and sisters, and if they asked me to stay behind, I'd say, no way, I'm coming with you right now. So anyway, so they're saying these things, and their story is not really making sense, but let's see. So they forgot. So I wanted you to, like, write down in your own journal, what do you do when you go out? Do you go and have fun? Do you like to go race? Do you like to, like, do things with your siblings or your friends? Do you sometimes forget that you made a promise to your mom and dad when you go out? Maybe you promise them that you're gonna, pray on time. Mom and dad is not, aware where you are in the park. but you left, and now it was Salatul, Asr, and you came back, it's almost Maghrib, you didn't pray Asr. So maybe sometimes, Shaitan tricks us too when we're having fun. We don't keep our promises, and it's not like we wanted to not keep our promises, but we just had so much fun that we forgot about it. So, like, how do you make sure that you don't break your promise? And if you and I do forget and we do break our promise, what do you think happens to others? Like, who gets hurt in the process? I want you to pause the video here, and if you can write it in your journal, that would be great. That what have you done in the past when you were having fun, when you went out? Did you forget something? Did you hurt someone? Maybe you left somebody's scooter in the park. You promised that you're gonna borrow and bring it right back, and then you forgot their jacket, and then they lost it. It was their favorite jacket, and then you felt sad later. So like, write down how did it happen and what made it happen. So these are things we need to be mindful of. It's very small, but actually in the long run it shapes who we become. So if something is important, then we should make a promise and we should stick to it. We should remind another person to remind us. I do that sometimes. I tend to forget a lot. So I tell my husband or my son, hey guys, can you remind me at this time I need to do this? Okay? And believe it or not, they do. So that works. So what do you do to make sure you keep your promises and don't break the promise? And do you have so much fun that you lose track of time and you don't pray your salah and stuff? So these are things that we need to be mindful of. All right, let's see what happens next. So they said, وَتَرَكْنَا يُوسُفَ. So we left Yusuf, alayhi salam, عِنَّ مَتَاعِنَا, with our stuff. So they're claiming they left a little, younger brother, and they left with maybe their food, maybe it was their backpacks, maybe it was I don't know, whatever in those days they used to play with. So they're pretending that they actually left him behind with their stuff. Like, along the stuff too, they forgot about Yusuf. Or maybe it means, like, that Yusuf Islam, they wanted him to watch over their stuff. But I mean, honestly, again, I'm going to ask you, did you ever have to keep a watch on something? Like, did you agree? And did you let your brother or sister go so far that you can't see them and you were comfortable? Maybe somebody says, hey, keep an eye on him, but you can see them in a field playing. Maybe you agreed and you take turns with your sibling. But this sounds really shady. So anyway, so how did you feel if you had to do that? Were you happy about it? So anyway, so I don't know about you, but do you believe the brother's story? I don't, but maybe you do. Maybe, do you think that the dad will believe it? I don't know. Let's see. And then the worst of all, you know what they said? They said, so first they said we left Yusuf with our stuff, but then they're also saying, and what happened? فَأَكَلَهُ الذِّئْبُ. And a wolf ate him. So you're telling me that, how many were there? 10. 10 of them. And well, I guess, yeah, if they left and they completely like, now they, if 10 of them were around, could a wolf feel comfortable to come and eat? Probably not. Look at, one wolf is not going to be that strong that he would attack 11 people, right? So they had to say this part of the lie, that, oh, we weren't there to protect our brother. Because remember, they promised their dad, oh, there's 10 of us. No way a wolf can eat him while we're watching them. So now they had to come up with this lie that we're gone, we weren't there, and now one wolf eating one kid. I mean, do you think their dad will believe this? I don't know. I don't know. I think Yaqoob alayhi salam is really smart. He already had a feeling about it. And I mean, look at all the things they're coming up. Do you think your dad would like to know that his beloved child was eaten by a wolf? And especially if your own sibling tells you, your mom or dad, that, how would your dad, like, usually parents do get scared and they do believe, why would a brother or sister lie, right, about your brother or sister? But this is how bad Shaytaan is. He can make you do the worst of things before you even know it. And it all began because they just loved Yaqoob alayhi salam, their dad, and they just were jealous. They were just jealous. They just wanted a little bit of more love. And so anyways, that didn't end here, by the way. So they didn't just say what happened to Yusuf. Now watch what else they're saying to their dad. On top of the fact that they're lying to him, and it's kind of obvious they're lying, this is what they say. They say, وَمَا أَنْتَ بِمُؤْمِنٍ لَنَا. But you know what? You won't ever believe us. You dad, you will never believe us. So is that nice? Like, first of all, they didn't even give him a chance to say anything. All this is one statement. And now they're saying, hey, even though they know they're lying, and it's obvious they're lying, they're accusing their dad that, hey, you're not even going to believe in us. You're not gonna love. You're not gonna believe us. So now I want to ask you a question. All this started because they wanted Yaqoob alayhi salam's love. But what they're doing to Yaqoob alayhi salam, their dad, do you imagine somebody doing that to somebody who they love back? Like, if you love someone, do you hurt them by saying the somebody who they really love, like, was eaten by a wolf, and purposely throwing that person into the well and leaving him to die? Or well, in their case, they were optimistic somebody will take him and make him a slave. But he could have died, right? They never made sure somebody took him. They didn't wait to give him food and stuff, right? So do you think that they love their dad really, truly? But look at how Shaitan is. Sometimes, even though we don't want something, he makes us want that thing in a different way. Like, even though we don't like somebody, we want them to like us. Astaghfirullah. So that we will do bad things just to make them like us. And nowadays, people do all kinds of crazy things. They post weird pictures on Facebook. They post fake things they've done. They even Photoshop themselves into weird places. So what I'm trying to get at is, have you ever felt like you wanted to do something and not even realize that it's gonna hurt somebody, and then you did it anyways because you really wanted something? You can pause and write in your journal. Have you felt like, you love somebody and you wanted their love for you only, and then you started hating somebody else they loved? Maybe a friend who hangs out with another friend, and you got jealous, and then you didn't want them to be friends with each other. So these are things Shaitan brings into our heart. He wants us to be jealous, and then in the process of making us jealous, he makes us forget that actually that person is my dad or my mom or my brother or my sister or my best friend. Like, I shouldn't do this to them. But he does that. And like right now, this is what they're doing to their dad. They're really messing him up. They not only told him something horrible that happened to Yusuf, but now they're also accusing him that, hey, you won't believe us anyway, so we're not even gonna bother. We already know you won't believe us. It's kind of like a negative, like like emotional damage they're doing to their dad here. And so, do you think it will work? I mean, will it work? Will it make Yaqub alayhi salam love them more? Really? They wanted more love. That was their intention. Do you really think that's what they're doing? Like, look how dumb it sounds, right? But that's what Shaitan is making them do. Shaitan is making them hurt their dad so that the dad can love them. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but this is how the Shaitan tricks you. Okay? And then they say, وَلَوْ كُنَّا صَادِقِينَ, even though we are truthful. So they're even lying, additional lie. Hey, we're even being honest to you. We are super honest. They're even using the same. Remember, we were doing this word, the pattern of fa'ilin. So how many words did they say? They said that we will be fa'ilun, we will be salihun, we are nasihun. All these words they're saying about themselves, all lies, because they're not really well-wishers of Yusuf alayhi salam. And they even said hafizun, we're going to guard him. So all these on this pattern, right? That they will be doing it, and they didn't actually. So they're not really honest. And Yaqub alayhi salam, we will learn tomorrow what he will do, but for now we know that these 10 brothers came crying in weird shapes and forms to their dad, and they pretended to be sad, and then they gave a false story that they came up with in the night. So that was today's session. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you do some artwork about what you feel about the story, and if anything similar happened to you, write about it, and inshallah we'll take it tomorrow for the following ayah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خيرا. السلام عليكم.